If you're here, it's most likely that because you've experienced grief. And I want to say that I'm very sorry for your loss. Grief is a storm that hits without warning. It leaves you gasping for air. And if you're in the first 30 days of this journey, it may feel like you're just trying to survive. And that's okay. You're not alone, and there's no roadmap for survival. But together, we're going to explore how to get through these difficult days with compassion, with patience, and with small step forward. Now, grief doesn't follow a predictable path. It's more like waves that ebb and flow. Think of grief like a stormy sea. Some days the waves are small and manageable, other days they crash over you, and both are part of the process. I want to assure you that your grief journey is not going to look like anybody else's. Your grief journey is as unique as your thumbprint, and that, again, is okay. So don't worry about trying to be like anybody else or meeting anyone else's expectations. Now, again, those first 30 days of grief, I call the white knuckle phase. You're just trying to hold on, you're just trying to get through. And you may experience something that we call grief fog. And grief fog can cloud your decision making and make even the most simple tasks more difficult. You're not going crazy, you're not losing your mind, you're not losing your memory. This is a very normal thing. So I want to let you know you might expect some unexpected feelings in those early days of grief. You might feel guilt. You might feel relief. You might even have moments of laughter. It's okay to feel nothing. It's okay to feel everything. And it's okay to feel anything in between. So for those first 30 days, as I said, it's kind of a survival time. You want to manage your expectations of yourself. If you get out of bed, that's a win. If you eat one meal, that's progress. I also want to encourage you, if you can, don't make major life decisions during this period. Now, I mentioned earlier you may feel like shock or numbness. And sometimes that numbness comes about because you may have things you need to get done. You may need to make funeral arrangements. You may need to do financial things. You may need to make all kinds of turning accounts off or on, whatever it is you might need to do. And your brain will help you by shutting down some of those emotions during that early time. It doesn't mean you've lost your ability to feel. It's just been turned off for a little while. I want to encourage you during this time to lean on support if you can. Now, people often ask me, at what time should I go see a grief counselor, for example, or what time should I do something formal? And there's no really right time, but there's never a bad time to lean on support of friends, family, support groups, whatever. There are organizations you can reach out to. I'm associated with one called Helping Parents Heal. There's Compassionate Friends. There's Forever Family Foundation. There are local hospices. Find someone that can help you navigate through this, because it's not easy. Now, whether that's for emotional support or even practical tasks like cooking meals or cleaning or whatever else thing you need to get done, do not hesitate to lean on other people. I think it's very important. I don't think we're meant to go through the grief journey alone. I want to talk about the basics of self-care during these first few days. Self-care is always important, but never more important than during this time. And there may be some difficulty with eating, with sleeping, staying hydrated, things like that. So be very aware of that, because as the grief wears on you, it can also wear down your body. So if it feels impossible to eat a full meal, try a smoothie or some soup. Make sure that you're conscious about staying hydrated. Drink warm drinks if that comforts you. Drink tea, drink water, a lot of water, but just take care of yourself, those basic physical needs. You may have trouble sleeping. Try to get in a regular sleep pattern if at all possible. I want to tell you, it's also important to take it one day at a time, 1 hour at a time, sometimes 30 seconds at a time. You may feel like you're not going to make it through. And I can tell you, I've been through this myself, where to think about even tomorrow was overwhelming. To think about next week was unthinkable. To think about next year was something that I didn't even want to do. So just take it one step at a time. Grief is like climbing a mountain. One step at a time gets you to the top. So if it's just a matter of focusing on getting through lunch or getting through dinner or getting through the day, that's all you can handle, that's fine. I do recommend that you find small anchors, little things that you can do. You may want to start journaling to write your feelings down. Actually, right after Shayna, my daughter, passed away, I had this urge to start a blog. So I think it was about a week later, I started blogging, and I blogged on a daily basis just to get my feelings out. I didn't know if anybody would ever read it, but I wanted to have those feelings come through me. So you may want to do something like journaling. You may want to go light a candle, taking a short walk. Taking a short walk after dinner or any other time after a meal is a great way to reflect. These rituals can bring a sense of stability among the chaos that you're going through. Getting back into small routines can be very helpful, to help your brain figure out this is not the end. Now, again, I mentioned earlier that grief is as unique as your fingerprint or your thumbprint. Don't worry about societal expectations. There isn't any one way to grieve. You might cry, you might laugh, you might want to watch comedies, you might just want to sit in silence. It's all valid. I mentioned earlier reaching out for support. That may be something that helps you, but you may also want to be alone for a period of time during this time. Whatever works for you. And don't let anybody set expectations on you that you should be doing this, or on the other hand, that you shouldn't be doing something else. Now, it may feel too early in the first 30 days to start honoring your loved one, but it's actually never a bad time to do that. So, again, depends on what feels right for you. But you might want to look at photos of your loved one, and it might depend on how they passed as well. But you might want to look at their photos. You might want to write a letter to them. You may want to gather with others and share stories about them. Honor your loved one, and let yourself know that they're still going to be with you, but in a different way. This is a natural part of grieving, is honoring that other person that you've lost. So I want to remind you that healing is a slow process. Okay, it takes a while, and it's okay to not feel okay right now. Wherever you are along your journey, I assure you're in the right place. And I'm a big believer in affirmations, but they have to be real. They have to be able to be something that you can actually feel, that resonates with you, that your brain's not pushing against saying that's not true. So here's one that you can always say: I'm doing the best that I can. Whatever it is you're doing, wherever you are, if you're even getting out of bed, if you're brushing your teeth, if you're having one meal a day, you're doing the best you can. So make sure that you're okay with whatever it is you're doing. And I want you to know this: as hard as it feels right now, and I know it feels hard, you're taking the first steps on a path that can eventually lead to growth, to healing, and to meaning. Now, again, that's not going to happen in the first 30 days. That's okay. In the first 30 days, we're trying to get through it, right? We're trying to survive it. And we want to understand that we can move forward eventually, but right now we're where we need to be. So I want to thank you for spending this time with me today. And again, if you are going through a loss, I'm very sorry for that. I want you to remember that grief doesn't have to be a solitary journey. So if you'd like more guidance or support, feel free to drop me a line. Reach me on Substack. My Substack is Grief to Growth. That's grief, the numeral two, growth.substack.com. I would love to hear from you and know that I'm there with you in spirit. Have a great day.